We as children are really vulnerable at times. That vulnerability can take us high or bring us down. In our group, we had a discussion on what child vulnerability means to each one of us. The responses were quite surprising. Some children said that it means expressing themselves. Some said being vulnerable can break you down and scar you for the rest of your life. And we can also sometimes be mentally attacked. So, we wanted to explore this topic a little deeper. While exploring the topic, we found some environmental risk factors that we would like to help children in. What do you think some of these factors are? You are free to unmute and answer.
Poverty.
Okay, that is one.
While researching.
Starvation.
Yeah, starvation.
Okay, fair enough. Moving on. While researching, we came across some terms and how they can be violated or they already are violated. Some of the examples of children's rights that take into account the necessity of the development of child. And the violation is police abuse and arbitrary detention on street child. Taking these violations, we did a separate research on what is happening on each of these areas.
To understand and go deep in these four chunks, we did more research and found out there are four main reasons why dropouts happen. They are poverty, excessive academic pressure, child marriage and pregnancy. There are 472 million children in India that drop out of school, which means 1 in 8 children drop out of school without completing their education.
In India, the number of children in rural areas is more than the number of urban children by 47%. Out of the whole population of children, only 25.6% are aware of the children's rights.
When it comes to helping of a child coping up with their emotions, only 19% of the facilities are available, since only 4,000 qualified psychiatrists are available. And only 123 out of 640 districts have health centers. Because of this, only one child out of a batch of 50 gets them.
According to the pie chart in the cases regarding abuse, 22.8% are mental abuse cases, 31.2% are sexual assaults, and 40.6% are physical abuse cases.
The physical abuse cases in India are really high. 1 in 5 women from the age of 1 to 17 are physically abused. The effects of child physical abuse can last a lifetime. Those effects include brain damage, hearing, and vision loss, resulting in a lifelong disability.
The factors that we found were parents or abuse from parents, mental health, schooling system, the immigrants, and disability. We, as a group, wanted to explore how we can help children, and in some situations, how we can help ourselves. How do you think you can help children deal with this stuff? Anybody?
Being aware and conscious of what our children need.
Anyone else?
The right education.
Yeah.
They should be made aware of good touch, bad touch.
Okay.
All of you made a fair point. You guys might be wondering why we should get to know about these factors and why they are important. Let me give you an insight on why they are important. These situations are performed on a daily basis, and we think we think that needs to change. We think it is important for the people to be aware of these kinds of things so that they can help the children of today. When this question was asked to the children, they wanted to know more about these problems and help these children.
We wanted to spread awareness on how children can deal with certain situations. Some of the solutions we found were children can contact the child helpline when they are in need. We did a survey regarding how many adults and children were aware of the child helpline. We were taken off by the responses. We saw that the majority of adults were not aware of the child helpline number. Mostly all the ages below 13 are not aware that this kind of helpline actually existed. We as children are trying to create awareness on how a child can deal with such situations when they need help.
So, when we had a good discussion on what we can do when it comes to child rights, child education, and child emotions, for child rights, we as children can teach the household members to take good care of the child and teach them about their rights. Or we could even speak to our teachers for further help. For education, we could open small tutoring sessions for children, or even run a school with SP. To help children with their emotions and how they can deal with it is to engage with praise. You can praise your child when they talk about their feelings, but at least express them in an appropriate way which children can understand. We can listen to our children's emotions, and resist the urge to make the child's bad feelings go away.
Before I start, I would like to ask my fellow teammate to go back to slide 11. Alright, while we were researching, we found out that there's only one child helpline in our whole country. While thinking about our next steps for our mission, we want to create a helpline and spread awareness. We also want to make a website teaching children how they can deal with these emotions.
I have a small question for all of you guys. Have you ever experienced child vulnerability in any part of your life, even when you were small or current situation? Anyone? You guys can unmute and speak.
We all have.
Okay. Max?
I think for me, once when staying away from their family for a long time in hostel, for example, I think I felt a little kind of vulnerable away from my family.
Okay, fair enough. So moving on, we asked the same question to a bunch of kids in our mission, and each one of them were telling their stories, and we as a group connected the dots. And while connected the dots, we found something really amazing and interesting. So most of them came from feeling free and feeling heard. So we'd like to show you something about that.
There are times where some of us wants to. There are times where
because it's been 12:34, I think.
There are times when some
there
of
are
us
there are times where some of us want to feel free, but the opportunity is not given. So we asked all the children in our group what freedom means to them. Before I jump into telling you the responses, what does freedom mean to you? Feel free to unmute and share your stories.
Being able to do what we like to do with considering the fact that we are part of a society, not being just selfish.
Okay. Farah. Okay. Nila, can you continue?
We going out in this current pandemic?
Okay, Sanvi. Okay, moving on. We made a word cloud on what freedom means to each one of us. Some of the responses we got that they were that freedom means that I can express myself. I'm not judged. I can paint, I can draw, I can write, and many more. Most of the responses were related to self-expression. So we would like to show how our children express themselves while feeling free. So these are some of the pictures that in our group, some of them drew to express themselves through drawing. One of the child in our group spoke about how writing makes her feel, and she wrote a poem on what child vulnerability is and how writing makes her feel free. The poem starts with, "Our moment may last for a few seconds, but it's capable of leaving an impact for a lifetime. It could hit as hard as a right hook and make you fall on the ground. But how can something so small really change so much? Is it because we don't have control over our emotions? Or do we get swayed by the smallest things because we are weak? Or is it because the moment makes us feel and fear our vulnerability a little more than usual? Is it that our true self that always tries to trickle its way to the surface that we try to prevent all the time?" A lot of people complain about people being two-faced, but deep down, do we have the courage to be ourselves? Vulnerability can be wieled as a double-edged sword. It can take us to a much higher state, or it can make us drown in the ocean from weights bound to our legs. Is a moment really capable of showing us more than what we see every day, or see every day when we are down and everything feels lost? There's a time when we hold on to. We as children are vulnerable, and if we hold each other's hand and walk on a path that we all agree on, we can change the world. Thank you.